and I'm a little tired, but and I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to post this, but I'm gonna record it anyways and rely on my guides to tell me. But as I'm stepping into what I feel is my purpose as a medium, a channel, an oracle, many of you that have been following me know I work with ascended masters, angels, demons, diamonds. They're not demons, diamonds, gods, goddesses from all pantheons, all beliefs, cultures, and also star beings, of course, which most people are more open to now, and these terms that we have, like star seeds and such. And there are Pleiadians, Arcturians, Andromedans, Sirians, Lyrians, Draconians, Reptilians, Greys. Finally all of this knowledge is coming out. I started hearing about this about 7 years ago, I'd say. 10 to 12 years ago is when I really started my spiritual awakening, and I started delving back into tarot and oracle cards and paganism, and I just started studying every religion and belief and theology, occult, esoteric, everything you could imagine. Some of you know a little bit about my path, but I also started channeling galactic beings. But when it first started happening, I had no idea. Like, I automatic write, I journal. That's my way of using my clairvoyance, claircognizance to the best of my ability. And I will write sigils, symbols, words, dates, times, places, names. You can't imagine, pictures, just everything just starts coming out. And I just have probably over 50 journals now full of stuff over the past 10 years that have come out. And one of the first things I heard about star beings or whatever was Sirius B, Orion, and Pleiadian. So I'm pretty sure that I definitely have some starseed origin with the Pleiades sisters, the seven sisters. But I kept hearing about the Galactic Federation, and the crazy thing is I kept writing it down and telling my daughter, and I said it's made of all these different beings. I said it literally looks like Star Wars or Star Trek, like literally all these, one's blue, one's green, one's pink, different whatever. Some of them live on planets that only have water, and they're like fish beings, and some don't breathe air, and some, I said, I don't know why they're showing me this. This is and tribes of 12 I was hearing, and like I really had no idea. Certain like sectors I could see ships, and some were like red and white, and some were blue and white, and some wore suits like this or that. And I didn't know, like, all of this stuff wasn't as prevalent as it is now, but I just wrote it down. I said fine. Well, last night all of a sudden some of those beings came through again. They had shown me like cities under the ocean, way in the ocean. Like, the ocean's a whole nother world, my friends. Like, we just have no idea. Inner Earth, the ocean, what is actually on Mother Gaia that has been hidden for so long. There are these beautiful, like, crystalline cities under the oceans, protected by bubbles, for lack of a better term. Like, I literally saw, like, the dolphins can go in and out of them if they want to, the mer people. And of course, 10 years ago, people would chalk you off as being a nut job for saying things like that. But thank God, we're at this point where we're at, where what I knew as a child, what so many of us knew as a child, was that, fairies, unicorns, and mermaids, and these things of legend and mythology were not just legend. I remember my mother telling us the story when she was in high school with my grandmother, that they saw a UFO over Lake Erie. But of course, again, back then, it was Area 51 and you're a conspiracy tinfoil hat wearer, you know what I mean? But these days are changing. We're finally getting to these times of Jupiter ascending and Elysium and Dune and, Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever. And, and last night I heard CZ. I saw the initials Z and Z so clear. And I was like, cubic zirconia? Why are you telling me cubic zirconia? But then I heard clear as day, Commander Zebron, Zebron. Like, I'm a visual learner, so a lot of times I see the words, the names, the whatever, I see it, and as well as hear, but I see more than hear. And he said, I'm the Pleiadian commander of the Pleiadian Starfleet 1-2. And I was like, well, isn't 1-2 just a 12? And he said, no, like 1-2 or like 1.2 if you want to think of it in your English terms, whatever. It's like 1 something 2. And I was like, okay, so am I supposed to be one of these people? Like, I don't know if you watched that Daryl guy. Daryl, I think his name is, that channel's Bashar. I love Bashar. I love watching him. Or Dolores Cannon, or I don't know, some of these other like channelers, Abraham Hicks, and like, am I supposed to be like that? But for now, I don't know if I eventually will end up channeling beings. I don't know where this is going to go. So this is like my first video, but I just know that I had to say what he showed me last night is that portals are real. There really are portals around the earth. Maybe you've seen some of these things on like Instagram, TikTok. They started showing me these things 7-9 years ago, and I can literally see them in my head. It literally looks like almost like the movie Stargate. The portal, and then like there's like 4 little almost triangular, I don't know what to call them, around them, that opens up the portals to other dimensions. And yes, some of these wars and these territorial fights are over places that have them, but they said a lot of major cities have them. I'm almost pretty sure they're telling me that like New York City, London, Tokyo, a lot of big massive places have these portals. And then of course a lot of sacred sites like Stonehenge, of course the pyramids, Iran, because you know I don't want to say that word too much. I might edit that out because I don't want to get flagged. I'm talking about the war or some shit. But in sacred places, Sedona, Arizona. So, and it's a lot to do with where the ley lines cross. And so they just want me to say that, you know, when we feel called to move to a place, sometimes it's not just on a whim or because of a fantasy or because we just want to, you know, oh, I just want to live somewhere else. And sometimes your friends and family try to talk you out of it. And don't listen to that bullshit. If you feel like you want to move somewhere, there could be a good reason. And those of us that, if you want to call us star seeds, light workers, earth angels, earth grid holders, part of the voluntary wave, I've also heard us be called like wave 1, 2, and 3. I don't know why, but I heard that my daughter and myself are wave 2 of volunteers. I think I heard Dolores Cannon talk about that 2 years later. I don't know. But that we are here to hold the grid for the new earth. So if you feel called to move to a certain location, a place in the world, then that's the reason why. And you don't always have to have, you don't have to have a 3D material reason for wanting to move somewhere. If you want to go, then go. Your soul could be calling you there because it is a portal, or maybe it's somewhere you didn't think you wanted to go because it is a big nasty city or something, you know, and you're like, why the hell am I feeling called? You know, I want some more nature, but you feel like you have to go there first because it could be one of these places that has a portal, and there is a reason why you're feeling called there, because you need to perhaps go through that portal to find your soul family, to find the place where you're supposed to be, or to help anchor down that grid point for the new matrix. Basically, we all know that we're in the matrix now, and that the, whatever you want to call them, I'm not going to get into all that right now, have been holding this like 3D matrix. Well, basically we're here to hold the 5D matrix for the new Gaia, Mother Gaia, Green Tara, whatever you want to call her, in the 5th dimension. So you will be feeling like you need to move a lot, and you are going to be being called to where there are certain ley lines that are more in harmony with your birth chart, with your soul, with what you aligned to come here to do, or where you are needed the most to hold the grid for the new earth. Basically, they're saying don't get too caught up in like astrology and chartography or whatever that is. I know my daughter and I looked into it a lot too, and you know, it doesn't mean you have to live in a certain place because this astronomer, whatever the hell, said so. And there are different forms of astrology. You know, we have Western astrology and Vedic astrology, and Eastern we have, you know, and there's debate over 12 signs, 13 signs, all that. So don't, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Don't get too caught up in it. Trust more in what you feel. And if you just feel like you have got to go somewhere or see a certain place or move to a certain place, there's a reason why. There is a ley line there. There is a grid that you need to help hold, or that you need to access your memories, your previous lives, or some of these beings that want to communicate with you. And I feel like they're saying they're going to be showing us more markers. You're going to get more signs where these places are, or you may hear of more contacts or whatever, but also don't get caught up in the false flags. You know, we've heard of Project Sunbeam. Again, I don't want to say these things, I don't want to get flagged, but certain protections in the sky, false flags, you know, don't get caught up in that. Always just go within and trust with what you feel in your gut and what you know and what you're hearing. Try automatic writing, you know, meditation, breath work. Try all of these things, because I feel like these beings really, really, really want to communicate with us. They try to send us like light code activations, light language. I've seen people do that on YouTube, and you know, thank goodness that there are people that are willing to stick their necks out there and maybe be perceived as a fool, because this is going to be needed. And very soon we're going to see, oh, they got me like a little emotional, that these things are not foolish. The only thing that is foolish is to think that we're the only beings that existed in this world, is to think that NASA and our government told us the truth about everything. I mean, all this stuff about going around about the moon landing, I don't want to get flagged for this either, but like, hello, like how foolish. But then again, you didn't know back in the 50s and 60s, and you had your little shit black and white TV, and you know, I understand, people didn't understand back then, but we've been fooled, and the truth is going to come out, and these beings want to help us to assimilate as easily as possible, you know, especially for those that may not have been able to come this far yet. I'm not looking down on anyone. Everyone is in the place they need to be for what their soul chose, so we have to remember that as well, and we have to be kind and patient with ourselves and with each other as this is happening. Oh my God, they're getting me emotional again. So I think that's what they really want to convey. Follow your soul and do what you need to do. Don't listen to people when they're trying to tell you not to do something, or you're just ludicrous and you're not really hearing something, or you don't need to just move across the ocean or whatever. But also just be kind and patient with those that may not be here yet, you know, maybe, and there are quite a few, I feel like, that may not choose to stay here, and you know, that's our soul's choice. Some chose to stay throughout this transition, some chose to help with it, some chose to not, some chose to exit before this was all going to happen. So I don't know, I just felt called to share that today. Maybe this will be the first of many channeling messages. I'm not sure if I was supposed to share this back when I first learned about the Galactic Federation Council, because I get little pieces and little messages, and they don't always come through in one big coherent prophecy or message. So, but I feel like they've been telling me that I need to speak and I need to be the channel now, so here we go.